You had said something, I don't know what it meant, but it made me want to like run through a brick wall.
I'm not a Man City, I'm not an AC Milan, I'm not Liverpool, I'm not any of them big teams, but I'm a cold night away in Stoke. I think if I don't win a British title in my career, I've fallen short of what I should do.
I mean, you're getting to go out to Saudi to fight there, which is a huge honor, and it's going to be a great experience for you and your family.
I'm very humbled by that support that I get from all over Europe and not just in England, you know? It gives me a freedom and it gives me a purpose. I'm open for business to fight anyone.
All right, so I'm sitting down right now with Johnny Fisher. He's on a stacked undercard for Usyk versus Fury Part 2. It's going down on December 21st. You're going to be able to catch all the action on DAZN. And there's so much young talent on this undercard, it's almost overwhelming. But you and I have a history. Last time we sat down, we had a proper Chinese at the Blue Orchid with Mom and Dad before you guys had flown off to Vegas.
Yes, we were going to Vegas for 4 or 5 nights, which was brilliant. So, yeah, Big John wasn't actually up for the Chinese that day, was he? It's the first time I've been in the Chinese with him, and he hasn't hit anything. So, a miracle.
We picked up the slack though.
Yeah, we did. We had these scallops. I've never seen scallops that big. It was like that big, weren't they?
Absolutely.
And we went up Billingsgate Market and got them. Delicious.
I will tell you right now, I'm a little bit of a food snob, and sometimes people who live in New York think it's the center of the world. That's the best Chinese meal I've ever had.
That's what I mean. It's not trying to be too fancy. It's just fresh ingredients, cooked well, good company, good people working in there, good friends of ours, and that's all you need. You don't need to make things too fancy. If it tastes good, it tastes good.
Yeah, local place. All right, that's it for us. Enjoy the fights, everybody. So how you doing now? So now that you're into it and you're laser focused, you're back from Vegas, you're about to be on this gigantic undercard for a historical rematch, maybe in front of a rubber match, who knows? How's it going for you throughout this camp?
It's been very, very good. Obviously, I was in camp really for my last fight because I was going to fight in August, and that got pushed back to September, and that's when my muscle tear in my bicep happened.
Hello everyone, I'm gutted to tell you that I've torn my bicep in training this week. I'm going to get it repaired and we'll be back before you know it. Run for Army, let's have it. Bash.
I was in a constant state of being peaked, ready to fight, and your body can only hold that for so long. So I took my foot off the gas a bit, had my arm in a sling for a couple of weeks, and the tear has healed because it's only narrow. And I was still training and eating correctly all around that as much as I can, but now it's time to start ramping up the sparring, the punching, and getting that wear and tear on the body. But what I've learned is you can't let that wear and tear carry on for too long because that's when injuries do happen.
And you turn it to me. I got to be honest, the more I speak to you, the more I notice how poised you are. You're a 25-year-old guy?
25, yeah.
And, you know, the spotlight's on you, and you handle it brilliantly, including yesterday at the press conference. You had said something, I don't know what it meant, but it made me want to like run through a brick wall. You had said something like, I'm not Man U.
I'm not a Man City, I'm not an AC Milan, I'm not a Liverpool, but I am a cold night away in Stoke. You've got to pull your socks up and put your shin pads on to beat me.
I'm a cold night away in Stoke.
What is that?
You've got to turn out in the dugout, you've got to get that freezing cold air hit your breath, and you've got to have your half-time oranges, and you've got to put your big shin pads on because you're going to be up for a bit of a tear-up. And that's me saying, literally, I'm not the best. I might not be touted as the best in the world or one of these guys to look out for, but everyone knows when you turn up, you're going to have to perform if you're going to beat me.
And I'll tell you what, when you had said that, on top of me not knowing why I was so pumped, the whole crowd was too. Like, you're very good at working the crowd.
I think it's just, when you speak honestly and authentically, I think you don't have to try. You just talk as you would honestly, and I think people can buy into that. And I think that's the whole thing with how we are in general with my family.
Yeah.
Don't need to build yourselves up, just say what you think, and if it makes sense, people will like it. If it don't, they don't, and who cares?
Because so many people aren't honest or genuine. You know, to be honest with you, they're assholes, so they need more gimmicks, right? It just seems like you come across as this local guy. We spoke about the Army, the Romford Army, and I have a bone to pick with you because last time we sat down, I'm going to send you all this merch. I've been checking the mailbox every day. I haven't gotten a goddamn thing.
You're not picking a bone with me, you're picking a bone with my mum because she's in charge of the Romford Army merchandise. So, Mum, get that sorted for large, all right?
Yeah, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your opponent. Talk to me about your opponent for this fight.
Well, Dave Allen, the first heavyweight professional I sparred back when I was 19, 20 years old. At that point, I was just a rugby player at Exeter University, sparring a few of the top guys at the time, like Joe Joyce, Dave Allen. So really, so I could go back to my mates at uni and be like, yeah, I mixed it with this guy, I mixed it with that guy. I had no expectations of being a professional boxer at that point. And one thing led to another, and I think that's how I've gone through my career, just not putting a ceiling on anything. Sparred him, signed pro with the guys that managed Joe Joyce, got signed to Matchroom, got another year deal on the end of that, then got another 3 years, just going with it, rolling with it. And I think I fight with that freedom, that same freedom I've started my career with, I've still got now, because there's no expectation.
But it's a real blessing, too, that you've been in the ring with guys like Joe Joyce, that
Yeah.
you're on an undercard like this. So as a 25-year-old guy, and you seem extremely well-grounded, when you look at these two titans that are on the top of the card, Fury and Usyk, I mean, what do you see? And what do you see potentially as their legacy to the sport as someone that's just starting his?
Yeah.
You know, what do you see from those two?
Well, they're the two mammoths of the division. And if you're the mammoth of the heavyweight division, you transcend the whole sport in general. And you can cross over, and normal people walking around the street know who they are. Like, I talk about other people at my level and other domestic heavyweights, people probably don't know who they are. But heavyweight boxing, if you're at the top of the game, you transcend sport and you're in that whole sphere of entertainment. So them guys have got legacies that most sportsmen with whatever sport you do, they can only dream of. And they're both two humble men, but they're also very capable. And I'm expecting another fantastic night after last time's performance. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of both of them guys.
I find it extraordinary that Alexander Usyk sometimes fights with the weight of his country on his shoulders. Yes. To a lesser degree, with you in that hometown, I mean, there are people there who are absolute rabid fans of yours.
Yeah.
They seem to travel wherever you go to fight and whatnot. Does that add a little more pressure to it? You don't show it, but for a 25-year-old kid, that's a hometown hero.
There is that unavoidable pressure of people coming to watch you, wanting to support you, don't want to let them down. But in a way, I feel no pressure because I've never put an expectation on myself, and it gives me a freedom and it gives me a purpose. It actually motivates me and drives me, and I fight with a freedom. And then people allow me to, and I'm just grateful, especially in the current climate we live in, an economic sort of climate where there is not much disposable income at hand.
Right.
These people don't only watch me in London, they come and support me when I go to Las Vegas. They pay for hotel tickets, hotels and train tickets to go to Liverpool or Manchester. And people are invested, and that isn't a burden for me. That's something that inspires me. And where I live in Essex, in London, my East London roots, people get behind each other. People from university as well, where I went, they all go back to their towns and cities where they're from, and it's spread. And it's not just an English thing, it's a Great Britain thing, it's an Irish thing. I've got Canadian supporters, I've got Mexican supporters, I've got...
Now you're just showing off.
There was a people that came over, I'm surprised at this myself, I'm amazed. So I was for my fight in July, I saw some Dutch Bosch soldiers and Dutch Bull Army and Belgians, they all come over on the Channel Tunnel together. So I'm in awe, and I'm very humbled by that support that I get from all over Europe and not just in England, you know.
Where do you fit into the heavyweight division? Like your body type. I want you to come to America. I want you to have a Chinese meal. We've already done the invites and all that stuff.
Fantastic.
But I also want to bring you over just because I want everybody to see you. I want everybody to see you in action and just see who you are as a person. Where do you fit in the heavyweight division? I know we've gone from the land of monsters, where we had a guy 6'7" and up ruling the roost, and now we have a guy who's much more manageable but infinitely talented, who is, at the top of the division. Your body type, your style of fighting, what can people expect when the Romford Bull steps in the ring, and where do you fit in the division?
I can really punch, that's one thing I know. I can really, really punch, so whoever I land that and detonate that punch on, they're going to feel it. And I'm not one to be arrogant and big myself up and say I've got all these skills, but one thing I have got is heart, and I've got tenacity, and I've got willpower, and I always turn up fit and strong and in shape, because that's the bare minimum that should be expected of a professional athlete. And where do I fit in? I don't really know, and I don't really care. All I'm going to do is stick to what I know, and what I know is to train hard, listen to my managers, listen to my trainers, and listen to my dad as well, and my family, because they're the people that have got my best interests at heart, and I'll just keep progressing as I'm meant to, and wherever I fit is where I fit.
But then can I ask that cliche question? You say like you don't put too much as far as expectations on yourself, you don't care where you fit in. But a guy who's 25, where will you be at 35? You have to have some sort of long-term goals.
I had a similar question with one of the other guys over there, and they said, what's your ceiling? I said, I don't look at it as a ceiling, I now look at it as what my minimum is. And then there is nothing beyond that I can't achieve. I think if I don't win a British title in my career, I've fallen short of what I should do. And winning the British title, an iconic belt, the Lonsdale belt, if I finish my career and that's all I win, that's an unbelievable achievement for me. Someone 4 years ago wasn't even thinking about being a professional boxer. And you win that British title, you can see with the likes of people like Fabio Woodley, who's a good friend of mine, who's now in that mix of looking at the top tens, and you win the British title, you're approaching that world level mix, you know.
One of the other gentlemen, and again, stacked undercard, December 21st, make sure you tune into DAZN. One of the gentlemen I had the pleasure of sitting down with just before was this Moses Atama.
Yeah.
Again, you guys have these young, talented heavyweights. This kid is ice water as well. Very, very level-headed. Is that an eventual collision course?
Yeah, listen, he's an unbelievable talent. He's an exceptional talent. I get on pretty well with him as well. We're having a little chat on the podium up there, and it's a fight that can happen. These British heavyweight domestic fights are amazing fights that everyone wants to see. As I said, I'm open for business to fight anyone. What people have got to realise is my worth and my value in being the only one really who's selling out little arenas at the minute, beneath the Joshuas and the Dubois and the top guys of the division. So yeah, I'm open for business, but I know my worth at the same time.
And the international thing, is there any venue? I mean, you're getting to go out to Saudi to fight there, which is a huge honor, and it's going to be a great experience for you and your family. You want to cut loose and you want to see just about everywhere in the world, but is there any place that you've had since you were a kid that you're like, Jesus Christ, I'd love to headline that?
I've had the opportunity and the privilege of fighting in Vegas, where that one's sort of ticked off for the time being, which is amazing. Obviously,
Did you like Vegas?
Yeah, I do like Vegas, but my opinion of it is whenever I'm there, it's training, and I can't get out of that mindset of being in a battle-hardened perspective, you know. But Madison Square Garden, of course, iconic. I want to box there. And the other one we've flirted with the idea of is going over to Sydney in Australia, because I've got a lot of supporters over there, and that would be absolutely amazing. Because for me, large boxing is not just about the accolades and the titles you win. It's about creating long-lasting memories that me and my family can look back on. And that's what motivates me as well. My friends and family, when they come and support me all around the world, I want to be able to look back in 30, 40 years' time when I've got children and grandchildren and think, I've done some amazing things in my life, and boxing has been that instrument to do that.
Is anyone else getting this? Like, this kid is talking to me, honestly, like he's a guy towards the end of his career. So 25, I don't know what I want to do. I'm 53 years old and I'm still kind of searching for it.
I don't really know either, but I know that...
But you don't have any problems with that?
No, I don't know, but I don't know where it's going to go. But all I know is I'm extremely grateful to be where I am, and I'm fortunate, but I've worked very hard to get here as well. And
where'd you jump on? Like, is it one of those things where your dad had, you know, was just face deep in some Chinese, you and your brother started fighting, he was like, just grab the gloves, go out into the yard and settle it? Like, where does this start, that you start on this road?
I've always been in the boxing gyms, although I had a hiatus really from 14 to 19 because I was playing rugby. I've had boxing gloves on since I was 5 or 6 years old. It's where we live. Boxing is religion in a respect, being from the East End of London, and we've moved out now. But boxing's always been a part of our lives, and I'm the only one in my family that's really stuck to it and gone with it. And some things just brought me back to it when I was 19 years old. So I've always wanted to be a boxer, and being the heavyweight champion of the world, it's a dream right now, but it's one that is a dream that is not just in my head now, it's actually on the horizon, and there is a pathway there if I'm good enough, you know?
Who's the toughest person in your family, and why is it your mom?
It is my mum, really.
Certainly
She's
is.
the glue. She's the glue. My dad's had a good life with good memories, but he's had a tough life. I remember him working with my granddad. Sometimes, like, you've got bills to pay. We work in cheese, right? That was our business before. And sometimes you're like looking, how are we going to pay the mortgage next month? I remember him being stressed over money, and I've tried to help him where I can when I've gone to work with him. But times were tough, and they're still tough now. We're not living in a lavish luxury lifestyle, but it's a bit easier now, and my dad deserves what's happening to him as well. And we all stick together, and my mum is the glue, because I've got 2 brothers and a little sister as well. But without my mum, we'd all be lost.
So this kid is extremely likable. I love this journey from cheese to Chinese to champion. You have to root for him. It's Johnny Fisher. He's going to be going off on December 21st in Saudi Arabia. And you can catch it all on DAZN. It's an absolute pleasure. I'll see you over there.
Great to see you
I'll
again,
see you
mate.
in the States or whatever. I wish
See
you
you
nothing
there.
but the best of luck.
Cheers, Lodge. Thank you, mate.